Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James and Brink, and we are one community. Today, our podcast is going to be in the woods. It's an adventure. You might hear some children in the background. Don't worry. That's Children of the Corn. There's a cornfield right over there. And then also a lake over there where Jason's hanging out. And we have our hut over here, which we don't know who's living in it, but there's a bed and some food in there, but it's fine. It's fine.
Not big.
Fine. You also notice I'm shorter than Suzie today. And it's because the instrument that we're sitting on. So
it is a nice angle.
It's a creepy log. If you haven't, you couldn't tell by now, this is our Halloween episode. So, and it's our special, I guess, in some ways, and we want to make it extra special. So if you're listening to this, you're not going to get the full effect. You might feel like we sound a little different.
We have a light wild Loki.
Yes. So continuing, this is a Halloween special. We want to make it extra special and honestly, we want to go for a nature walk.
Well, you always talk about gaming in the woods for Halloween, so.
At nighttime, but I even have my Steam Deck right here.
Oh.
I know. Like, I brought it just so that I could prove that I play in the woods on this thing.
Yeah.
Now, should I make a pentagram over there and really show you how we do it?
Will someone Beelzebub?
We'll sit with the two of us. No, I said before we needed 5 people. One of them is an extra, but
True.
Yeah. Besides the point, today, and we don't even need to go into what we've been playing or anything like that. What we've been doing is wandering around in the forest, preparing for this episode. And today's topic is, do you remember what it is?
I believe we are talking about what video game, like horror video game scenario you would not like to find yourself in.
Yes, I think, and we're gonna delve into this and maybe morph it into our preferred scenario, or the perfect scenario that would maybe we'd survive or die the quickest. I don't know.
Yeah.
But scenarios and let's go through different ones. And I wanted to preface this with games, because I think that's the best way for us to visualize this.
Yes.
First up, what is the scariest game that you could think of or you've played?
Well,
That'd be a good starting point.
Scariest. Obviously that's Dead Space. I don't play horror.
You don't.
Oh, Dead Space is my current and will be for a while game.
Scariest game you've played.
Yes.
Amnesia Bunker would be an interesting for
Although, yes,
you
watching you play like Amnesia is pretty creepy too.
Would you try it?
Potentially.
It's not Ghost. If it's something that's too haunting like The Exorcist, I think you won't play it. But anything beyond that, though, and don't worry, the doggo is getting himself
tangled in the
He's
in
now
the wood pile.
Yeah, he's now one with the wood. We'll call you Woody.
There you go. Perfect.
Wood. I'm trying to think of a joke with Woody Harrelson, but
it's not coming. He just wants some Twinkies.
He is a Twinkie.
He
looks kind of like a Twinkie. He's round like a Twinkie. It's just imagine a Twinkie with legs.
Yep.
So, yes, Dead Space. Dead Space, honestly, is the one that would probably freak me out. I don't know if I want to say the most, because there's a lot of other games we can get into, and I'll throw out Evil Within. And I think we've talked about moments in games. So we've talked about this a little bit on a previous episode, but I really want to dive into what we wouldn't want to do with these personally. And if you hear a jet, don't worry.
Yeah.
Them just chemtrails raining down goodness onto this party.
Yes.
Part of the horror. Loki, stop being a guard dog. He wants to go play. He wants to go play with the Children of the Corn. So. Dead Space. What's the freakiest part about Dead Space for you?
That's
if you found yourself in that situation, what would you do?
I'd be dead. Firstly.
Come on, put a little bit more faith in yourself in that.
God, I don't know what I'd do. Honestly, I'd probably be the one sending Isaac out and be like, I'll just stay here on the ship until it blows up, and
I need to repair the ship. So why can you go out there and find
what's going on?
Your girlfriend, while I just sit here in the ship and just enjoy my life here. Exactly. And probably be one of the first ones to die.
Exactly. And then my agony would be over.
There you go. So you're one of the ones that doesn't want to fight through the pain. You're just like, I already know the end goal, or the end. I'm going to probably die. I'm not a main character. Just take me now.
I'm a red shirt. Yeah, like I'm just like, hey, blowing up in a ship sounds faster and more painless than, walrus mantis
I think you need.
things.
I think you might need some game therapy. I think you need to like therapy. Like they need to make a main character therapist or something like that.
Right.
Where you need to start treating your life like you're a main character instead of a side character. You're just like, I'm there to make the waffles for everything, and then smile as you're an NPC. And you're like, you're not an NPC. That's the scariest part you've mentioned so far.
Your waffles. Thank you.
You want to fight. I think your fight or flight is broken. I think you're a fight, flight, or die, and you're like, I'll just die.
I'm a freeze.
Freeze is that? I guess that's true.
I'm a freeze.
You're in between that. Yeah, you're not going to do either. True.
No, but here's the thing that makes Dead Space so scary is one, you don't know what's going on. You have to sort of piece it all together. You're slowly going crazy, but you don't really realize that you're going crazy.
I feel like I'd be going crazy for multiple reasons because of Dead Space.
Exactly. And then it's just like, for me personally, I have like the biggest heebie-jeebies of like entrails and bodily fluids like everywhere. Like I'm just like, that is fitting disease. So I'm just imagining like, encountering a lot of these like weird creatures that are all trying to murk you. And then like, what if you get a cut and you fall into, 3-day-old, putrefying,
Blood.
Susan from accounting.
Hey, well, she was kind of a bit.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I want a disease from Susan in accounting who's been dead for 3 days.
As long as you don't touch the other regions, I think you're going to be fine. Because she was a little bit up. No, but going into hypotheticals.
Hey, what's his face from HR is also dead, so.
That's true. HR is gone, so you can do all the mess.
Oh my gosh, I don't
stuff you can do. No, and that's kind of like you haven't.
I believe his name was Isaac, not Ted Bundy.
Well, when you're going crazy, who knows? Potato. It's a limb from either a necromorph or a human. Yeah. Who knows?
I don't know.
Who cares?
But all of that combined, you don't know where you are. You don't know what's going on. There's up everywhere. Things are trying to murder you, and you're slowly going crazy. Like that just sounds like a recipe for just no, thank you.
Yeah, honestly, it's a great way. The more we talk about it, I know we talked about Dead Space so much on this already. This podcast probably like, this is a Dead Space podcast.
Right.
It's one of my favorite games. Half-Life, Dead Space.
Doesn't help that I'm slowly making my way through.
True, and you have not played Half-Life yet, and you've played Dead Space. But with Dead Space, it has the psychological. It's got the true horror of like creature zombie. Like they're almost, they might as well be zombies. Necromorph.
The lights go out every 5 seconds.
The lights, the environment's falling apart. You're stuck in space. Like,
there is no escape.
Crazy. Like, what's going on?
You scream in space.
Pretty much. Like, the biggest thing that it's missing is something that's potentially otherworldly or, like, let's say a ghost or whatever. But in some ways, it's creepier because this is entity that might as well be otherworldly because it can turn all sorts of mass into creatures and itself. But it's honestly, I think it's the pinnacle of what makes a scary game, enemy, and everything is Dead Space 1. That being said, I think I would do better in Dead Space 1 than I would do in some other games personally, in the sense of I feel like my chances of surviving if I get a hold of a weapon and potentially locked myself inside of one of the rooms would be much higher.
Until your brain turns on you and you're pulling your teeth out.
Yeah, true. But if I'm still cognizant enough to know this, then I don't think I'm going to be affected by the I'm not going to give away that part, but there is some entity, essentially where you can lose your mind over time, and some people are more susceptible and not. I think I would, like, honestly, if it didn't get me at that point, then it's not going to get me, like, until I'm rescued potentially, or maybe I just find some nice. I mean, this is the future. I should be able to find like some med pack thing that can induce me into a coma for a few weeks.
True.
So
What could happen?
I think, fight or the flight, I don't know. It depends on what I have it in my hands on this.
I guess that's
But
true.
let's go to the Amnesia bunker, and I'm going to use a newer Amnesia. That's one I've beaten. I haven't beaten any of the other ones, even though I've played the other ones. But Loki is not happy.
Come here. He doesn't like the creepy woods. Too many noises.
Yeah, there's a lot of noises. He doesn't like the children of the corn over there. So, as she's helping our furry little friend,
Amnesia bunker.
Amnesia bunker is one of those ones where it starts out. It's World War I believe, right?
Yes.
In France,
Mhm.
which makes this. I love it when games can do a good setting. You're going through the trenches of World War I, and that's what World War I's famous for, is trenches. And you get into this bunker. And at first you're like, okay, this is kind of weird, whatever. Like, it's very just nonchalant. Then you get going a little bit deeper into it. And you're like, okay, there's some, obviously they lock doors because it's a video game. I feel like every video game has to have everything locked. That creaking noise. It's behind us. Okay. Okay. Listeners, viewers, just let us know if anything creaks up behind us and tries to kill us.
Yeah.
Out of that cave. Ooh, we should have set that up. Okay. Have someone kind of peeking in and out.
That'd be pretty creepy.
That would be very creepy. That's all I'm going to think about.
Right? So Amnesia bunker.
Amnesia bunker.
You wake up. You don't know what's going on.
Oh, that's right. You fall in. No. That's what happens. You're right. You're rescuing a friend. And you get hit by a shell, I believe. And then you wake up and you're like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then not too far down the hallway, you realize, oh, something's out there hunting this guy.
Something's lurking in the shadows.
What is going on here? And we're in a bunker.
Yeah.
So you quickly want to get out of that area where the guy gets killed.
Right.
And then I don't need to give away too much more of the story, or I just trying to set you up like Amnesia bunker. Essentially, something is in that bunker trying to get you.
Yeah. And you have no memory of how you got there, what's going on, just that you were there with a creepy, crazy thing.
Yeah, and you have to figure out what's going on with your memory and everything else, and what went on in this bunker.
And you have tied up screaming Germans.
Yes, Germans. You're having to navigate each portion of this huge bunker to try to get to the
lights are going out.
The game. Well, you're trying to escape in the beginning. You're trying to find this handle to detonate the entrance that was blocked off for reasons because we didn't want things to escape. And you're like, well, I'm in here with this thing I don't want to escape. So now I'm going to try to get out. So and then it's an interesting concept, and because it doesn't have weapons in it, you have to use your brain, the environment, and all that. That being said, I would rather pick Dead Space over this. I know that sounds weird, but like an unknown entity that can burrow through the bunker and that is otherworldly, because it's the whole fun notion that people like to do. Yeah. Nazis found something they're not supposed to, something otherworldly.
Of course they did. I mean,
that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to find new ways to kill their enemy and to take power, right?
I mean, look how it ended with them in the arc.
Yep. So yeah, it's the one and you don't get weapons. You're in a bunker. You're a military person. Like if I had that's probably one of the things I hate the most. Is if I'm stuck in a weird position in this case, I want to fight. Yeah. Or I'm gonna, and in this one, I don't think you could lock yourself in a room and then eventually survive. I think that eventually the entity would hunt you down and kill you.
Yeah. So basically, your only option is to get out.
And
hope that you can get out in time, while also having a myriad of things that you have to overcome to get out.
Yep. And so I definitely would rank out of the two. I'd rather deal with Dead Space stuff, which people are probably freaking out about. And you can let us know in the comments. And let us know in the comments what situation out of all these games we're going to mention would you rather be in. But yes, what about you on this one?
Wow, that's a hard one. Yeah, I definitely feel you on like with the bunker. The whole like it being able to burrow through walls and you're not really safe. That I don't know. Yeah, where I don't know. I feel like Dead Space, I'm such a klutz that like there's a myriad of ways I could go out in that world.
That's true.
Oh, just slipped on the entrails of Bob from engineering.
And hit her head on that. Wow, you really think about this.
You know?
And the way you play it.
Or I heard something. Oh, wait, my hearing's off just a little bit. It wasn't that direction. It was that direction. And then it just slices me into little sashimi.
It's so funny,
cubes.
too, because in Dead Space, you've named everything already.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every corpse might already have a name. You like naming things.
You know, I got my first weapon from Janice.
Did you?
Yep. I named her Janice.
See,
As she passed away, I was like, you look like a Janice. I don't know. R.I.P. Janice.
She doesn't like Janice's. You just wanted to see Janice die. No.
No.
I was semi-joking. I didn't realize.
It's how I cope. It's how
you
I
go.
There
You're
was
like,
a floating guy named Bob. Bob and I got along really well.
honestly.
And then everybody was Bob's cousin that round.
Oh, no. For me, it's the opposite. I don't want to know the names of things that it makes it less personal, so I can dissociate away from it. So, yeah.
I guess I just have gallows humor.
Would you rather be, so you would rather be in Amnesia than Dead Space?
Probably.
Because you know there's one entity, well, okay, there's also rats that are trying to eat you, but...
Oh, I forgot about the rats.
And the rats are kind of, ugh.
Well, at least in Dead Space, you're not alone. At least you have your compatriots for
You
a
have the
little bit.
necromorphs.
Yeah. No, but you have your compatriots a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so that's hard. Maybe Dead Space.
Are you sure? Okay.
Sure.
You have a better chance of hiding. I mean, they don't have space mice. Which would be kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
What's up? You want to come over here and say hi?
Up.
Ugh. He can't.
His thing's pretty tight.
No, you'd go and say hi to the children of the corn.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll make this quick, okay? Loki, miss.
Kinamus.
There. Oh, that's a good way. Okay, so yeah, I think okay. No, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's move to the next game. Let's do Evil Within, which I swear you've seen me play a little bit of this a couple years ago.
I think so.
And we don't need to go too far into this. Essentially, this is the living hell.
Right.
This is a mind F, essentially, of what's going on with the Evil Within.
Mm-hmm.
You will go to investigate this thing. You almost die. You're running away for this incident, like I think at a hospital or mental hospital. And
That's always a good sign.
Oh, I know, like, right? A little cliche. And then you get knocked out, I believe, wake up, and you try to escape this butcher guy, maybe a chainsaw guy. And then it just all delves, like you escape, and then the world falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's really big mind F, which honestly is one of the scariest things for me. Dead Space has it, but it's not so
hard in the mind.
It's not so hard, but in Evil Within, you can survive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a strong will, that's the whole point kind of Evil Within. Strong will, luck, and you can fight through these enemies that are in a mind of its own. I'm not going to give away much more, but it is a mind F kind of concept. You can escape, and he's done it twice.
Right.
So I will have to say, out of the three, I still don't know which one I'd rather be in, because I don't know.
Right.
With the Evil Within, like, what about you? Like, you're stuck in a mindscape of someone else is making.
Yeah. I don't think I could handle that.
Like,
honestly.
it would probably, you just go crazy too, potentially, with the whole concept.
Yeah,
Loki.
no, I don't like that very much. Yeah, I don't think I could do that one. And maybe that is the thing with, like, the Amnesia bunker, is that at the very minimum, at least you're not going freaking crazy while you're trying to figure everything out.
Yeah. No,
and
it's true.
There is some safety in that, because I don't know.
There's a little bit of mental stuff in that, because you got knocked out, and you could be thinking, like, I guess in that one, you could think that you're crazy, and you're like, wait, what? I got knocked out, I woke up, and now I'm in this. Like, is this just, I'm in a really bad coma or something like that?
Yeah. No. Shush.
He really doesn't like Children of the Corn.
No. He's sharing his opinions very loudly. But continuing, yes, that's what makes this is like, one of the worst would you rathers, Hey, you're going to go live in a horror-scape. Which one would you like?
Yeah. Stick? Loki will choose stick. There you go. Eat that. No, and let's continue on a little bit, but I will definitely say Evil Within is a big nope.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like I would do better surviving in Evil Within than Bunker, which is weird. I thought I was going to go into this podcast thinking, no, Evil Within is going to be the top of my list. I don't want to be in. But now that I really think about it, like, yes, in the Bunker, I don't want to give away the ending of Bunker, but
right. It's not exactly like the
I'm not a patient person, I guess. People can watch my playthrough. Like, I'm not a patient person with these games. Like,
no.
If patience is the way you survive, I might not make it.
Yeah.
So Dead Space, I think I could do patience in that case, in the sense of all I got to do is if I can knock myself out, that's the way I'm patient, right? Where I don't have to be cognizant.
Yeah.
Evil Within, maybe you just stay in no, you can do that. We don't need to go. But yeah, other horror games.
What's the one you've been playing co-op with some of the Discord group?
Outlast.
Okay.
Trials.
Yes.
Which is similar to Amnesia in some ways.
Yes.
So Amnesia's, you don't usually have like a specific way to fight enemies. Outlast is similar. Mm-hmm. Like in the first Outlast, you have the bad guys that are trying to attack, or this bad guy that's essentially killing everyone and is trying to get you. It's escaped convict or like mental health. I don't know. I haven't finished Outlast because it freaks me out. Well, I will finish it one of these days. I have other games I've been playing over that. But Outlast Trials is what we've been playing, is where you get stuck in this like mental or this insane asylum where it's not you that's insane. It's the people running the experiments that are insane. And it's probably like a node to Nazis or something like that, because it is like 40s, 50s, 60s is like if the Nazis escaped and were experimenting on people in a different country without people knowing. Yeah. You're stuck in this place. You have to run through these trials. You make money. You get new things to help make you survive. And the whole point is they're trying to study you and how you can survive and do well and adapt, I guess. I don't know the full purpose of the trials yet. And I don't think there's going to be. It's meant to be a scenario-based co-op multiplayer game where you're put in these scenarios where you have to, like Saw-like things, where you have to grab the key out of someone's stomach that's dead, or you have to push the person to get executed. It would be at the top of my list of not wanting to be in this. Yeah. This is one where I would probably just want to die. Yes. I don't like the concept of having to hurt others to survive, unless they're bad guys kind of thing, right? I don't like the idea of having to do all that. Yeah. So with that being said, what would you do? That's really hard. Outlast, Trials. Here's the thing. Again, it's the whole concept of, one, things are trying to like murder you. You're trying to figure out how to escape or how to make something function. Yeah. All while doing it in the dirtiest, most disgusting. Seriously, I have an issue with this. It gives me the heebie-jeebies so bad, this idea of like, hi, yeah, I'm running through water that's like nothing but pig guts, and blood. Yeah. It just, I can't handle it. And so it's all that, and then things are trying to murder you. And then what's even worse is it's even a mind F anyways, because the people that are making you go through this are the ones that are technically off their rockers. Yeah. And so it's that constant thing of like, I'm doing, like, if I had to be in this in a reality space of this is my life, the constant questioning of, am I the one that's crazy? Or are the people doing this to me crazy? Like, and then just the amount of PTSD you'd have. Oh, yeah. From having to go through these trials over and over and over again and seeing people die. I mean, it's like, we all know how the Hunger Games went. Yeah. Just imagine, hey, Katniss Everdeen, you get to do this every third Thursday of the month, or whatever. Well, you're going through scenarios. You're not necessarily, it's like, hunting down other people. You're typically going through trials. No, but still, you're being hunted. You're having to hurt other people, potentially. Yeah, but they're supposed to be convicts and stuff like that. Who knows? But like, are with a group, which is nice.
Plus, I like to set up like really weird scenarios with the mannequins that are disturbing, and
Yeah.
just a lot of like all of it is just this cluster F of just gnarly.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's I don't know. I don't know. Like honestly, if okay, just to paint a little bit more of a picture, I feel like this is what the AI is going to do to us in like 100 years.
Probably.
They're going to be the doctors set there because they're just like, everything's fine. You go up to a nurse to get upgrades, and then she's actually like, oh yeah, you're fine.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Have fun. And like very, very creepy.
Yeah.
And you're just like, obviously you're not, because you're going through all these trials. Because if it was just, then maybe it's all in your head. I don't know. That's a whole other issue. We can move on from this, but I definitely would die fairly quickly in this. And it's definitely one that might be at the top of the list, but because I just don't want to do harm to people.
Mm-hmm.
This or a bunker, I think it would be the top of my like, don't want to be in it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah. So, let me check. We have 27 minutes and then we probably have to cut it down to 24. So what other games do we have? Oh, Resident Evil. Okay.
Yeah.
Just give it a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then let's add another game into this. Honestly, I think most people would think any game that you would be put into that world might be hell. It might be a horror game in its own. Resident Evil would be one of them. The world is in chaos. There's zombies everywhere. You have a megacorp, a corporation that was originally in pharmaceuticals, essentially doing bioweapons. This is
literally how the world will end.
This is honestly the closest one, except for like some weird virus mutation stuff that they do with Wesker and everything else. And some like Resident Evil 6 has some weird stuff in it. But the fear of the whole world not being able to escape back to something is pretty big, I would say.
Right.
Dead Space, you get a return. I mean, we don't need to bring into Dead Space 3, but Dead Space 1, you get a return to society. So that you get a return to normality, kind of. Except for, Isaac kind of doesn't, but we'll brush past that a little bit.
We'll get there once I'm past Dead Space 3.
Yes. And then in Evil Within, you get a return to the normal world too, in a sense. Like your world gets to become normal. In the bunker, you get a return to a normal world technically when you escape, even though you have PTSD. In all these cases, you're going to have PTSD. I don't think there's going to be anything any way around that.
You'll return to some form of normalcy.
But in a zombie apocalypse, like a full-on zombie apocalypse, the chances of returning to normality in your lifetime are probably very slim.
Yes.
If you do it right, like with The Last of Us and some other of these, you could eventually overcome and then
just kind of
get a society together and come back to
some normality,
snap back to reality. But so that's where the freakiness for Resident Evil is. But if you're stars or if you have enough ammunition, you could probably survive. It's just for how long, and you'd have to start hunting for food. And it becomes the survival part where you're like, food, a bunch of other things. How long could you last? You don't know. Yeah. Like with Dead Space, there's a chance that someone should be coming to rescue us or whatever, potentially, who knows. In Resident Evil, the rescue is on you in some ways. So depending on which character you are.
Yeah. Do I get to be Mila Jovovich?
Yes.
Perfect.
If you get to be her, then you get.
Then you just survive.
You're a superhero. Like it's ridiculous. The movies are fun to watch, but they're ridiculous.
Oh, 100%. They're ones I still need to watch, but like I totally understand that there's a complete separation between what the movies are and what the games are.
Yeah. Mutate. What would you do on a Resident Evil kind of style thing?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, to be fair, like I know about the Resident Evil world, but I don't know enough.
You've watched me play some, but it's just it's like typical zombie trope game with a lot of T-virus. You got the Resident Evil 4 with parasitic more or less zombies. And
Probably I'd hike my way up to parts unknown of Canada and just be like, this is my life now.
It's a good zombie fighting technique, as long as you can make sure you can eat.
You know, so long as there's not, zombie polar bears. You know.
Oh, zombie polar bear. Like, even if it doesn't matter if it's a zombie polar bear or a polar bear, it's going to kill you. I don't know if it's going to make it any different.
Yeah. Well, I just imagine like polar bears are ferocious and terrifying enough. Just adding like a T virus to a polar bear just.
You're going to die.
Worse.
I don't know if it makes it any worse. Maybe it could run faster. I don't know if it's going to do that. Maybe the G virus, but then you're talking about a whole other creature almost at that point as it mutates. No matter what, it's going to be a different creature. Yeah. Okay. I get that. That.
Either way, I'll just hike my way to northern Canada.
Is this more likely or less likely to want to live in it, as opposed to the European?
That's a good question. I'd probably, compared to some of the others, probably more likely.
Yeah.
But,
there's no mind tricks in this one, too. That's what's nice.
Yeah.
The problem is just don't get bit.
Yeah.
Just don't turn into a zombie. Yeah. Okay. I definitely put this one in the middle of the ground of the games for me. It's not the lead, the most effed up part of this is to actually have to survive for who knows how long, and it becomes a survival game, environment, as opposed to long term, as opposed to short term.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the other ones are short term. Like, you can make it through the short trials, you're out forever.
Yeah.
Barring the Outlast trials. Outlast the games, you can get out potentially. But in the Outlast trials, you're stuck there.
You're there.
Hopefully you can
dead.
escape or whatever, but the whole concept of that game is you're just always getting experimented on.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything? I feel like we're missing a game.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Hey, man, if it's like Willy's Wonderland or whatever it is, that one with Nick Cage movie, and I get to be Nick Cage, then sure, I'll be in that world.
Well, who doesn't want to be Nick Cage?
Right.
Okay, so, let's do that one. If you don't know what I want to say Fabulous Freddy's, but that's the car wash near us. Kind of.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
You've been living under a rock.
You're a security guard. Yeah, if you don't know, but just real quick, it's so easy to explain. You're a security guard. Animatronics essentially expect Chuck E. Cheese characters to subtly come after you, to stuff you into one of the, I think in the original one, they're trying to stuff you into one of the characters or what.
Yeah.
We don't need to go into, there's
so many iterations.
Essentially dedicated to FNAF lore and figuring things out. No. Let's just go down. Would you want to be a security guard with a limited battery to shut the doors and the camera and not die? Personally, if I was because this is a game, this is very much meant to be a game with very limited and very simple gameplay and mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to do it like it was in the game, I wouldn't want to be in it. It would be towards the top of my list, not wanting to be in. But if I'm able to do what I want, I'm going into I'm going somewhere where hopefully they can't get me.
Right.
What about you on this?
Same. If it's in game play, it's no, wouldn't take the job, But
oh yeah, that's obvious. But if you didn't know what you were doing,
and that was just how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to live in it, honestly, unless it's the person that came before me is some grizzled old man who's figured it out and he's left me his notes and is follow these well and you'll survive.
Yeah.
And I just follow the notes every night and I'm okay, this is my life now. Cool. But if I don't have that, no, thank you. I'm good.
Okay. We don't need to rank these per se because I think it's so hard to rank. And we've kind of been ranking them.
AKA, I don't want to live in any of them.
Which one is the least likely, though?
Least likely to happen?
For you to be in. For you to want to, if you had a choice.
If I had a choice.
You had to choose your horror. And I want listeners to, in some form or fashion, try to figure out how to respond. If you're in Spotify, I think there is a comments area, or you can go to our Discord, which is Games Revealed on Discord, or go to YouTube and you can comment. I want to know what people are thinking on this one.
And it doesn't just have to be these games either. If there's another game that you're like, this is my absolute would not live in this game, comment on that too.
Yeah.
For me, would not live in regardless of anything.
Or have to survive, because I
have to survive.
Yeah. I think that'd be the best way to put it.
I had to survive in any of the worlds.
The least likely and the most likely. I will go.
I'm not sure.
Full on Outlast is going to be my choice of the least likely, or at least one I want to, because I just don't know if you ever do survive.
Right.
And the amount of torture you have to go through in that. A runner-up would be potentially like, which is a weird one, but the bunker one.
Right.
I just don't like the concept of that. I thought, like I said, going into this would be Dead Space, but it's not.
Right.
Most likely, though, for me to think that I would survive in, it would probably have to be either, I don't know, a lot of people die in Resident Evil. A lot of people die.
Yeah.
You kind of luck out where the event occurs. Probably Dead Space or Resident Evil. But Resident Evil probably the top one. Even though it's the one that I would hate because it's a long-term suffering. But at least you're more like you have a higher chance short-term of surviving, and then long-term you have to really worry about things.
Yeah.
Or the other ones are very extremely, you don't know if you're going to die or not.
Yeah.
And like the Dead Space thing, the mental F up that you're going to get from that could be just maybe should be at the bottom. I don't know.
Yeah. I think for me, I know I said differently earlier, but I do think Dead Space would be, for me personally, the hardest to be dropped into.
It probably would be. And I'm
honestly,
being very naive because I've played the game so
well. And I just think about it too, like being in like Isaac's shoes of like, is Nicole his girlfriend or his wife? I thought he was his wife, but
a significant
partner.
Other. Yeah.
Okay. So, your partner is somewhere on the ship. You don't know what's happened to them.
Yeah.
There's the dread of what's happened to this person I care about.
Yeah.
There's the trying to survive. There's the ick in the muck and just the absolute like sensory overload of having to deal with that. There's going crazy on the side of it as well, on top of all the trauma that you're getting from everything else. And it's just
almost every aspect of a horror movie or game comes into play in this.
Exactly. And so for me, I think it just at some point, like I'd break. If I could survive it, I would break. And then
I have weapons, which is a big deal for me. But then maybe I'd put too much faith in my mental fortitude, which who knows? It might be non-existent.
Who knows? You never know until you're in that situation. And then mostly, I think I agree with you, like Resident Evil. Like, I think most zombie things, it's either, you're going to get bitten or die in some weird way.
In the beginning, or eventually you're going to get to a point where you're really good at surviving and you're most likely to survive.
Yeah. And so,
till that time you live out your life, and then you have to end it all with your significant other in bed with wine.
Exactly.
Last of Us TV show.
Oh, Phil and Frank.
I guess throwing it into The Last of Us and the Resident Evil, we could throw those together too, because very similar in a lot of ways. Obviously, one is like overpowered viruses and conspiracies, but I do feel like a lot more people survive at that than The Last of Us. But I do think a zombie apocalypse would be the easiest one.
Yeah.
In the short term, it's just the long term, man. And you have to deal with that.
Yep.
But at least, I think in one form or fashion, no matter which of these scenarios you're going into, you're not going to be coming out in one piece.
No.
Maybe 100%. Me with Dead Space, because I'm highly fortitude.
You've
fortified.
Your brain is.
My brain is massive. It's big. You can get through anything. And then you're just going to find out like you have a lot of padding. It's like the size of a walnut, which is good against psychic attacks. It's really good against psychic attacks.
Yeah, there you go.
It takes a lot to get through this thick brain. Or thick skull, I should say.
Thick skull.
Okay.
You were dropped on your head a lot. It had to grow to...
It had to grow to protect me from my parents. Okay, I like that. Okay. So let's start wrapping this up. Anything else you want to mention with all this?
No, just life is crazy and scary and whatever. Enough as is. Like dealing with zombies and necromorphs and insanity and all the other things. I'm just like, no, thanks.
No. This is an epiphany. Maybe it's easier for me because I can escape into these games and I enjoy them.
Right.
Maybe life's harder for me than these games are. And I need an easier life
Right.
in Dead Space than I do out in the real world. No, I'm just kidding.
It reminds me, so we went and saw A Haunting in Venice yesterday. And at the beginning of the film, they're doing like shadow puppet for these orphans in Venice. And the story that they're telling is actually really quite terrifying for little kids. And you can tell that the kids are just like, oh, this is scary. And
it was scary.
It was.
No matter what, I feel like that was scarier than some of the stuff coming out today for kids.
I know. And Hercule Poirot turns to his friend and he's like, isn't this scary for them? And she responds, sometimes really scary stories help make the realities of life less scary.
Yep. And honestly, and I was about to say that, that's a great way to put it. Escape into Dead Space and into these horror games makes our life not feel as scary and uncontrolled.
Makes you a little grateful too of
maybe that's I think that's a really wholesome way to look at consuming horror. Yeah. Is that it's a way to make you appreciate what you have in the real world and enjoy the jumpy creepiness of the eeriness of the other world.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a good way to end this.
There you go.
Lesson learned. There is a lesson to the end of this podcast.
Start thinking about the people who do live in horror films in real life.
And we don't need to think about that because there's a lot of atrocities that happen in the world, World War IIs and all that. But hopefully
for most of you, it helps you think of gratitude, especially as we go into the American Thanksgiving season.
Canadian Thanksgiving season's already ended. They're not thankful anymore.
Not for another
year. So with that, I think our bonus today, our bonus episode will be, you're going to probably want to watch it. It's going to be a little bit of a tour of the area that we're in.
Yeah.
And so you'll enjoy that. Maybe we'll give a little walking tour and a little bit of stuff.
Perfect.
It won't be too creepy, but maybe we'll make it creepy. We'll see.
Perfect.
So with that, anything else you want to say?
No, thanks for watching, guys.
Peace out, guys. Later.
Congrats! Secret level unlocked. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter to curb that craving for more. If you like this episode, then make sure to leave a like, rating, follow, or whatever the platform has. Also, make sure to check out our merch at shop.gamesrevealed.com or shopundead.com. Peace.